talking about growing the grassroots, getting your people in power, in government at the grassroots. Why is that not happening?
Well, it's happening. That's what I was trying to tell you. It's happening. And you'll be shocked it's happening.
But you participated in the presidential elections.
I was trying to get to there.
I'm sorry, we don't have a lot of time.
Yes. But you see, what's important? And I think when I was sending my bio, I said what we want to do in my party is that you must first and foremost talk about what you do. I'm a development economist. That's how I earn a living. I'm not a politician.
Well,
okay?
You're in politics now, so
I am in politics. Huh? I'm not a politician. And I want to be seen as a development specialist, which is where I have my specialty.
So you're hoping that your party will have a better showing in the State House of Assembly elections?
Well, with what it is we've seen so far, unfortunately, no, because you don't have any level playing ground. Everything INEC said they would do, they haven't done.
Level playing ground from the umpire?
From the umpire. That's what I'm saying. Everything they said they would do, they haven't done. We've seen that the card readers are not working. We've seen that underage people are voting. We've seen that results have been written where there were no elections. Okay? We've seen that materials are not arriving when they're supposed to arrive. We've seen that INEC attacked staff. I raised all these issues.
It's always very tempting to go into this conversation.
Yes, because
the role of the smaller parties. But I insist again that it's a topic we're going to interrogate. Perhaps, you know, on another segment of this program.
So I'm not going to be here to tell you, oh yes,
with you.
If it's fair, if it's credible, trust me. I am going to be flooding this country with under 45s.
But where are we right now in terms of electoral? Do you still think that we're feeling any tension from the aftermath of the presidential elections?
Well, maybe a few things online which could actually, if not checked, could be potential time bombs. You know, a lot of videos, hatred, you know. Videos and stuff like that going around.
Whose responsibility do you think it is then to unite or to douse whatever tension is still left in the country?
Well, I believe the president has started well. His acceptance speech is conciliatory enough. And
you think so?
Yeah, I believe
Some people think he didn't have enough there. It was in there he just had one line, you know, asking his supporters not to humiliate. Or let me see now. I'm looking for that line. He says, I would like to make a special appeal to my supporters not to gloat or humiliate the opposition. Victory is enough reward for your efforts. And that's where it ends.
That is one. He said he would extend a hand of fellowship to others. And most of the...
I'm looking for where that is in this speech.
It's somewhere there.
I'm not seeing anything of the sort. I see him thanking millions of volunteers, talking about Saturday's elections and looking at the fact that security agencies should be able to do more. He talked about loss of lives. He talked about commended security agencies.
Yes.
And then that's when he now talked about his supporters not to gloat or humiliate the opposition.
Yes.
He thanked domestic and international observers. And he says the new administration will intensify its efforts in security, restructuring the economy, and fighting corruption. That's what he says. I'm not saying where he says we're extending a hand of fellowship to anybody.
I believe there was something like that. Maybe I probably...
maybe you infused it into the speech in your mind.
Maybe I thought there was something saying that he would...
in subsequent speeches
he would actually change a few things around. You know, maybe that might be my own mental perception then. Because for me, even advising supporters to be temperate in the way they rejoice, and to be temperate, not to harass anybody. That's enough. You know,
because we saw those victory parades in some states of the country. We saw where they got a bit tense as well. Do you think that was a very wise move by those who were rejoicing to have gone on such a parade, even with candidates who had obviously lost in their own constituencies?
Well, you can be rest assured that we will not get over some of these sacrifices overnight. Everybody wants to do the order, to say, okay, hey, I've celebrated for Mr. President, this, you know.
So you think it's sycophancy?
Oh, of course. I mean, when you look at it, everybody's happy. I'm elated that the president won, because I've always stood my ground that there is no way this election, that there's no way the president could ever lose this election. He was addressing the poor people. And I mentioned all this trader money, the empower. all these policies that were touching the people of this country. It's only the elite, and mostly those people who are used to free money. And that's what actually played out. The poor people, those who do not have, they are not asking for much. Those who are taking 10,000 a month, 5,000 a month. The party reached out to them. And it's a policy, so it's a social security system.
Is the president a president for the rich, for the poor only?
Oh, of course, not for the poor only. Because when you look at it, the moment to empower somebody to have 10,000 naira a month, if you have a business that you are selling a product, maybe for 1,000 naira, 500 naira, is able to afford it. And that way, the economy continues to grow. So for manufacturing, it will begin, because the buying power is very important at the end of the day.
You fielded a presidential candidate. Did you feel the president's speech was conciliatory enough?
Well, speeches are speeches, okay? We have a president, he's the president of Nigeria. Elections have been announced, the winner has been announced. And as far as I'm concerned, I am subject to the president of Nigeria. But I think it's important, and this is why I insisted that you must introduce me to who I am. I'm a development economist. And you cannot talk about, things that do with poverty, and I'm not able to weigh into it. That would be very unfair to me. I would eat my tongue.
Before we talk about the issue of poverty, I need you to address that, because we're talking to you primarily because you fielded a candidate in this election. Did you think his speech was conciliatory?
It was a speech. I mean, he said...
speeches have power. That's the reason why people
it was a speech.
Them.
Can I tell you?
Yes.
It was a victory speech. Okay? It was a victory speech. And for me, I don't think I see anything wrong with the speech. Right? I don't think I see anything wrong with that speech. Conciliatory or otherwise. Okay? This is a speech. President has said...
A speech has the power to either soothe or even exacerbate tensions. Do you think that his speech was soothing enough?
To suit. The president is a candidate of a political party. If anybody is going to be giving any sitting speech, it is not the president. The president gave a speech of somebody who has won an election, and it's a perfect speech. If you're looking for suiting, it should come from INEC. The president owes Nigerians no explanations of what went wrong with the elections.
We're talking about reconciliation.
No, I'm coming.
Uniting the country.
No, please, can I come?
Whose job is that?
He said it is his job of government. The president has an office, okay? Now, he says, I'm going to form a cabinet that will be inclusive. And I've said to you, it is not about public jobs. You're not a public servant. And I don't think you're looking for a job in government. I'm sure you're good where you are. Most of us are also good where we are. We are saying, if anybody needs to do any speech that should suit people's nerves, he was the umpire of the elections. He wasn't the president. The president should not be talking on behalf of INEC. Okay? If that's where you're going to. But if you're saying, is the president's speech inclusive enough to say, and he's talked about 3 major things. Okay? One, which resonates for me, is the rule of law. The moment you have a rule of law, you have justice. And justice is all for me. Every other thing ties around justice. The moment I can be able to get justice, then everything ties in. Of all he said, the moment he said we are going to be focusing on the rule of law, every other thing around development, around rights, around interactions, around synergies are built around the rule of law. The moment we are able to respect the status of our land, I'm good with it. So for me, I would say a yes to his speech, if you want a direct answer to it. But am I comfortable with what can happen going forward? Okay, I am not very comfortable with what can happen going forward because we've not interrogated where the real issues are. And I've told you what it is. Okay, you cannot have an umpire who's brought out what you call his guidelines, and you must interrogate it, because that's where the issues are.
I think that we'll be interrogating the guidelines of INEC another day. I mean, the governorship elections are very close at hand, and there's definitely room for that. But thank you, gentlemen, for coming on Sunrise Daily. Dr. Emeka Okegwu is the National Chairman, Alliance for Social Democrats, and Senator Ayo Arishe is the former Chairman, Senate Committee on Privatization.